Hello and welcome to Unwind Sessions, where right after my shift I give the highlights of my workday and answer any questions that might have been asked at a previous session. My name is Juan. I am an English, Spanish, medical video remote consecutive interpreter with over 4 years of experience. Today is Thursday, July 15, 2021. I took a total of 29 sessions today. It was a mix between video and audio sessions, like always, to be honest. It's always much more video sessions, I should say. It's always much more video sessions than audio sessions. But today I didn't really keep track. But there were quite a few audio sessions, which are always nice. So just a total of 29 sessions today. And there was only one highlight that I would like to mention. Other than that, everything was just pretty easy, pretty straightforward day. Nothing remarkable that for you guys to gain some knowledge out of this. So let's get right to it. And today there was this really annoying lady that would not let me interpret at all, like for the doctor. And every time the doctor told her something and I was about to interpret, she would answer and then she would ask me if what she said was correct. So every time the doctor said something, she would just ask me and then she would just answer. And what I did was, instead of telling what she told the doctor, what I did is that I told her what the doctor really had said. And she kept on trying, like she didn't give up, and every time she was striking out. And after a while, I guess, like, she realized that she wasn't understanding the doctor and she just gave up. I mean, points for trying, but bad. And it was just getting like really annoying. And once she stopped doing that, she started doing something that was just as annoying but not as bad. Every time the doctor said something, she would look over at me and then she would say, "What did he say?" Every time, every single time. So I was looking at her like, "Oh, ma'am, I can't believe you didn't understand that. Let me go ahead and interpret for you." You know what I mean? Like, oh, that just got on my nerves so bad. But yeah, that was like the worst thing that happened today, and like the only thing worth mentioning out of today. So that was that. I'm gonna get right into it, and let's get this vocabulary list started. Right now, I want to tell you that when I started writing this vocabulary list, I wanted to limit only 10 words. But by the time I started doing it, like, I was trying to pick out like the most important terms, and I realized that there are more than 10 terms for OBGYN sessions that are very important that you are going to have to learn. And for this reason, I'm gonna label this part 1, and then I'm gonna add a couple more videos, so it'll be like 30 terms total. Of course, there are many more terms than just 30 terms, but I think 30 terms is a very comprehensive list to get you guys started, especially all of the beginners that have no clue what they should be studying. So I went ahead and I'm picking like the top, like the most mentioned that I know that as interpreters you are going to have to interpret this word, because it always comes up. Like, the words always come up. For example, why am I doing this? Because I have some vocabulary lists that I have to study, and honestly, some of the words in those vocabulary lists, I have never had to interpret those words. So I'm gonna give you the top 30 words for you to know as to interpret OBGYN sessions. So they're gonna be 10 words at a time. So I just felt very bad about leaving out the rest of the terminology, because I realized like 10 terms are not enough. So the other terms are just as important. So don't take this as these are the top 10. No, they're not in any list. These are like what I think are like for sure you're gonna have to interpret. and so are the other 20. So don't take this 10 more important than the other 20, because they're not. All of the things are things that you are, or all of the terms are terms that you are going to need to interpret. So don't think that just because this is on video number 1 is more important than the other ones. They're all important, and they just didn't make the list because of a lack of time. I want to keep the videos short, below a half an hour. So let's get started. 10 must know OBGYN vocabulary part 1. Now, the definitions for the list, I got them from myenglishteacher.eu, from Google, and from healthline.com. All right, so vocabulary word number 1, jaundice. And now the definition for jaundice, it says here that it's a medical condition with yellowing of the skin or whites of the skin arising from excess of the pigment bilirubin, and typically caused by an obstruction of the bile duct, by liver disease, or by excessive breakdown of the red blood cells. Now, this typically happens to little babies. That's why I included it in here, but it can happen to grown-ups as well, or to any age, just as long as there's lots of bilirubin in your body. That's gonna cause jaundice, which is the yellowing of the skin and of the eyes. And it happens more to newborn babies because their liver is not working well. It's brand new, right? So it hasn't started working just yet, and in some babies it doesn't start working right away, so the yellowing of the skin happens. Now, what is the treatment for this? You gotta feed your baby, you gotta make sure he's being fed, and they put him under UV lights to break down the jaundice or the bilirubin, and that helps. Now, I have a story about this. My mom always used to tell me a story that when I was born yellow, and they had to put me under this like really big lights, and then the doctor recommended that she put me under the sun like 15 minutes every day, and I never knew what that was. But when I became a medical interpreter, I found out that, well, I had jaundice when I was born. So that's like a nice thing that happened when becoming a medical interpreter. I finally knew what was that rare disease that I never bothered to look up when I was born, right? Or I shouldn't say disease, it's more like a condition. All right, so moving on to number 2, miscarriage. All right, what is a miscarriage? A miscarriage is a natural termination of pregnancy. Now, if you're not, well, I'm gonna assume you're not familiar with any of these terms, right? Okay, a miscarriage is, like, for example, the body of the woman is not accepting the pregnancy, or there's something wrong with the pregnancy, like an ectopic pregnancy, or there's all kinds of things that can go wrong with the pregnancy inside of the uterus, or inside of the reproductive organs, which are the fallopian tubes and the ovaries. So the pregnancy can get stuck anywhere there, or there can be nothing wrong with the pregnancy, or I've heard it millions of times, they don't have an exact cause for what causes a miscarriage. It just happens sometimes, and they tell that to mothers not to blame themselves. There's nothing they could have done, and this is just one of those things that happens. But the body automatically just goes ahead and gets rid of the pregnancy. It does not accept it, and it just rids of it. And sometimes it'll happen just naturally. Sometimes it doesn't get all, the whole fetus doesn't get out, or whatever was being formed doesn't get out of the pregnancy, and they have to give some medication to take that out, or they have to do a procedure which is called a dilation and curettage, which I'll include in another video. And they just like open the cervix and the uterus, and they have to like scrape everything out to clean it out of there. So that is number 2, miscarriage. Number 1 was jaundice. Number 3, cervix. Now, the cervix is the bottom part of the uterus, and honestly, I didn't know what a cervix was until I became a medical interpreter. I had no idea a cervix even existed, and I had no idea, I've said this in another baby, like how like the reproductive thing actually happened. I mean, so yeah, that could be surprising, but it was surprising to me to learn about all of that. So the cervix is like, to describe it in layman terms, I would say is like the entrance to the uterus. Like for example, like it's like a little hole, like a little donut-shaped hole that goes into the uterus, and that is always closed, but is a little open, like sperm could get in there to fertilize an egg, right? And also that's where the baby comes out from the uterus, where it dilates and then the baby comes out. Another thing is that they dilate it sometimes as well to put in an IUD, which I'll explain in another video what an IUD is. So the uterus, the cervix. Uterus. All right, and number 4 is a Pap smear. Now, I had heard of Pap smears, but I had no idea what they were. I knew that they were just a test for the lady parts, and Pap smear is a test that is a part of a screening process for cervical cancer. So they actually take a little piece of the cervix. They have to open up the vagina with speculum to actually look into the cervix, and they take a little piece of the cervix to see if they have cervical cancer or HPV, which is the human papilloma virus, and that's what it tests for. So that was number 4, Pap smear. And number 5, ultrasound. Now, an ultrasound is a scan that is used for pregnant women to allow them to see their fetus during checkups. Now, an ultrasound is not only limited to pregnant women. Now, there are a lot of things that can be done with an ultrasound, not only limited to OBGYN. It has many uses, but it is one of those things that is going to keep on popping up on OBGYN sessions. And there are pelvic ultrasounds as well in OBGYN sessions that check the ovaries and the uterus without there being a pregnancy. But it's not limited just to that. Like they could check they could check a person's they could check a person's liver. They could check a person's everything inside of their belly or inside their body that you're not able to see. So an ultrasound is a very important diagnostic tool, not only to OBGYN but to medical stuff in general. And that was ultrasound. Number 6, birth control. Alright, now birth control is any practice of preventing pregnancy. Now this includes your condoms, your IUD, your shots, your tubal ligation, vasectomy, slipping some sleeping pills on your man's dinner so he doesn't want sex all night, right? All of those are form of birth control, so didn't hear that from me. So yeah, that is birth control. Practically anything that you can do to prevent pregnancy. So birth control. Number 7 is hysterectomy. Now a hysterectomy is a procedure used to remove all or part of the uterus. Now there are several reasons why a surgeon would want to do this, and the reasons are there are fibroids, there are endometriosis, and you probably don't know what those are, and I'm not going to explain them on this video, but those are some pretty important terms that you have to get familiar with that didn't make this list but are going to be on the next video for sure. Number 8, mammogram. Right here, don't mind that little mistake up here. I just I just scratched it out because everything else looks so nice. I had to do it again, so I just got lazy. And I can't erase letters with this LCD pad, so I had to just scratch it out. So ignore that. You never even saw that. Mammogram is a medical examination of the breasts. It is to detect cancer, breast cancer, or any abnormalities of the breast. Now, this is a very important test that women, oh, and I forgot the age of that, but every woman after the age, a certain age, they have to get it like every 2 to 3 years. And in some cases, if they see some abnormalities that are not like dangerous yet, but have a risk potential of becoming dangerous or cancerous in the future, they are going to ask the ladies to be doing a mammogram every year just to make sure that nothing bad is going on. So that is very, very important, and one term that you cannot live without. And number 9, the uterus. That should have probably been like one of the top in the list. But anyways, that is the organ in the mother in which the fetus grows. So that is the first little nest inside of your mom that you call the home. That's where you develop. That's where the baby is, the little fetus developing into a baby inside of the mother. So that is the uterus. Very, very important for OBGYN sessions and for life as well. We wouldn't be here without that organ, right? And for the last term today, let's just hope my computer wants to cooperate with me. All right, the last term of the day is speculum. Now, I had already mentioned speculum before. Now I'm gonna tell you what it is. Now, a speculum is a duck-bill shaped device that doctors use to see inside a hollow part of your body and diagnose or treat disease. One common use of the speculum is for vaginal exams, like I mentioned before. Gynecologists use it to open the walls of the vagina and examine the vagina and the cervix. So yes, I've only seen it used in GYN sessions. I honestly didn't know it could be used for something else. I don't know what else they might use it for. I've never seen it, but it's pretty much like this little plastic thing that it's like that, and then they put it into the vagina, right, to get it to open, and then like it's for the most part it's clear, or it has like a hollow base so that the doctor can have a look in there and actually take tests and samples and all that good stuff to make sure that the lady's health is well. So yeah, speculum, that is going to be a vocabulary word that you must know as well. So yeah, that is going to be pretty much it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this list. Remember that there are 2 more parts to this video coming later. I don't know if I'm gonna go ahead and do them like the following sessions, or probably go into another subject and then just come back to it at another time. I don't know. I'll see what happens next week. And please leave your questions on the comments and I will answer some of them on the next session. Now, I am here every Monday through Friday after work. I am not going to be here tomorrow because I'm gonna get the Rona vaccine, and I am going to be doing some stuff for my new house, some very needed stuff in case I don't get annihilated by the vaccine, right? I've heard some people, it just knocks them completely out. I hope that doesn't happen to me, and I actually have really, really, really big hopes of doing a lot of stuff this weekend. Hopefully it didn't all get ruined. But tomorrow there will not be an unwind session, but I'm gonna go ahead and leave you guys with a video tomorrow. It's gonna be the review for this LCD board, and just the LCD board, not like the rear part. Although I talk about the real part a little bit, it'll only be the LCD part that gets a review, because of course we're interpreters and that's where we are interested in. So look forward to that tomorrow. And remember that we have a Patreon page where with as little as just $1 of your support, you help motivate us, you help to create more content, and we give you access to everything in that page just for $1. You're not limited to just $1. You could be generous and give us all of your money if you wish. But just $1 will get you the same. We have no tiers. We'll get you, it doesn't matter how much you support us with, it'll give you ad-free medical practice videos. It'll give you scripts to those medical practice videos. It'll give you answer sheets. It'll give you vocabulary lists. It'll give you more content, and it'll get you a place inside of our heart. Does that look like a heart? I hope it looks like a heart. All right, so that is going to be it. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you like the video for much more content and have not done so yet. Don't forget to share, and happy interpreting. Goodbye.